For what, the last 2 decades, one verb has pretty much defined how we get information. Google it, right? It's our digital reflex, our go-to gateway for pretty much everything. But what happens if that reflex is about to be broken for good?
You know the drill. It's second nature. We type a question into this little white box, and we just trust that somewhere in that list of blue links is the answer we're looking for. It's a system we've all become experts at navigating.
But what if I told you that simple, familiar action could soon feel as completely ancient as, say, flipping through a dusty old phone book? Because believe it or not, that's exactly where we might be heading.
Yeah, this isn't just some minor upgrade we're talking about. This is a potential extinction-level event for the search bar as we know it. And to really get why, we first have to look at the cracks that are already starting to show in Google's empire.
So, what's the big deal? Why is the undisputed king of search suddenly looking so vulnerable? Well, for the first time in a long time, the user experience, it's starting to break down.
For a quarter of a century, Google was basically magic. It was our answer machine. But lately, that magic is starting to fade. The simple act of just finding a straightforward answer has turned into kind of a frustrating chore. And that frustration, that's creating a massive opening.
Sound familiar? You're wading through sponsored sites, you're dodging endless ads that push the real results way down the page. You're clicking on links that are just, well, they're SEO-optimized spam, built to rank high but give you almost nothing of value. And maybe the worst part, you have to click through like 6 different sites just to piece together one simple answer. This whole experience has created the perfect storm for a new kind of tool to swoop in.
And that new tool has arrived. AI platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, they aren't just an alternative to Google. No, they represent a totally different way of getting information.
Okay, here's the best way to think about it. Google is like a librarian. It points you to a whole shelf of books or, links that might have your answer, but you still have to do all the work of finding it. AI, on the other hand, is like asking a brilliant friend who's already read everything and just gives you the answer directly, no fuss. So how does it do that? Well, there's this cool process called query fan-out. When you ask a complex question, the AI doesn't just do one search. It's smart. It breaks your question down into dozens of smaller sub-searches, goes down all those rabbit holes at once, pulls out the key info, and then synthesizes it all back together into a single comprehensive answer, just for you. And this is the most important part. The work shifts from you to the machine. You get the full answer right there in the chat without ever having to click on a single blue link. It's a huge shift from a list of possibilities to a direct, synthesized answer.
Now, this move from searching to answering isn't just a nifty new feature. It is an existential threat to Google's entire business model. And I mean their entire business.
Let's be really clear about the stakes here. Google controls roughly 90% of the global search market. It is an absolute empire. But it's an empire built not just on giving us links, but on the fact that we click those links. Because that's the heart of the problem for them. Google's money machine runs on the ads you see and click on next to your search results. But if an AI just gives you the answer directly, why would you click on anything? And if the clicks go away, so do the billions of dollars that fund Google.
So look, this isn't just about which tool is a little bit better or faster. For Google, this is a fight for its very survival. The company is now being forced to completely reinvent itself before it gets left behind. But hold on. Before we go and declare Google dead and buried, this new challenger has a massive weakness. You could even call it a fatal flaw. For all its power, can we actually trust the answers AI gives us?
The short answer is not always. In fact, one study recently called these tools flawed answer machines. Why? Because they serve up answers with this tone of absolute, unshakable confidence, even when they are completely and utterly wrong. And these flaws are serious. We're talking about algorithmic bias inherited from their training data. They suffer from what are politely called hallucinations, which is just a nice way of saying they literally make stuff up. And maybe most dangerously, they present these lies with a misleading confidence that is just so easy to fall for.
A perfect and honestly a hilarious example of this was when Google's own AI confidently told people to add non-toxic glue to their pizza sauce to make the cheese stick better. It got this fact from a sarcastic joke on Reddit. And that's the key thing to remember. The AI doesn't get truth or context or humor. It only understands patterns. So all of this brings us to right now. A high-stakes showdown between the old guard and the new challenger, with the entire future of how we find information just hanging in the balance.
The battle lines are pretty clear. On one side, you've got traditional search, a massive, comprehensive index of the web, but it's bogged down by ads and spam. On the other side, you have AI search, a clean, conversational experience that, well, you can't always trust to tell you the truth. It's a choice between clutter and hallucinations.
You know, we've seen this movie before. Streaming didn't just compete with DVDs, it made the whole idea of owning a physical movie collection feel completely outdated. So the big question is, will AI do the exact same thing to the very act of Googling?
So, who wins this war? Is it the reliable, ad-stuffed giant that's scrambling to adapt? Or is it the brilliant but deeply flawed challenger that offers a peek at a much faster, more intuitive future? The battle for search has only just begun, and honestly, the winner is anyone's guess.